Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. The following video will contain spoilers from the Flash episode titled Back to Normal. So if you don't want anything ruined for you, spoiler alert. Stop watching now. For everybody here, hey guys, Dave here. Okay. Well, this was interesting. Starts off with a dream sequence of Barry still having his powers. And unfortunately, it doesn't go very well from there. He wakes up realizing he's powerless now, having to do the things he took for granted before, and going back to his day job as an everyday kind of guy. Well, while they're trying to figure out how to get Caitlin back, looks like Wally did manage to get away, so that's a good thing. They're trying to figure out how to get Caitlin back, but no one really seems to know how to do that without the Flash's powers to keep up with him. And the only thing that Wells can do is to try to go after his daughter. We find out that because they're from Earth 2 and they vibrate on a different frequency, that they actually create a cellular dead zone around them. So he's able to track Jessie that way. He attempts to go to try to talk to her, get her back. She doesn't want anything to do with him because she killed a man to protect her and to get her back, and she just can't deal with that right now. Well, eventually on the way back, Wells gets kidnapped by Griffin Grey. He gets up freaking just mollywopped in the van, ripped out of there and taken off to someplace. And he gets to show us that yes, he's got super strength and endurance, but it's also rapidly aging him. Well, while they're trying to track down these clues and start figuring out exactly what's going on, he's demanding that Wells, tries to find a cure for him. So, while that's going on, we get to see Caitlin being made to feel at home with the shackles off in Earth 2, and it's shown that this gets really creepy about how Zoom or Hunter really cares about her and hopes to eventually get her to that position. But we also see the psychosis breaking through. Eventually she's allowed to walk through, can't figure out who the guy in the metal mask is, and also have got Killer Frost in another carbide or carbine? Carbine. I'll have to take a look. I think it's carbine. Carbine. It's one of those days, sorry. A carbine cell. They start having a little heart-to-heart. Killer Frost says, you help get me out of here, I'll help get you out of here. They put their heads together, see some parallels between the things that were lost and things that never were in Earth 1 and Earth 2. And that makes for an interesting little playoff. So Danielle Panabaker, very big ups on you in there. She manages to get her out of there, but then Killer Frost decides to turn on her and decides to just flat out take her out. Starts to hurl a friggin' icicle at her, and here's the other thing that gets me. I noticed that the mannerisms that Killer Frost was taking in here, the very clear way she talked, the way that she rounded out her words and stuff like that, as Killer Frost, more so in this episode than before, I noticed that Danielle seemed to be taking acting cues from Wentworth Miller's portrayal of Leonard Snart, a.k.a. Captain Cold. And that delivery, that style, that was very subtle, but I picked up on it. I liked that. So anyway, Killer Frost is trying to kill Caitlin. Here comes Zoom, vibrating through Caitlin, catches the icicle, and shish kebabs her. And even threatens that if she tries to release the guy in the metal mask, then he's going to kill him too. Locks her back up, and it's just creepy saying that, I love you, and I want you to stay with me, and eventually you're going to love me again. So, eventually, putting their heads together, they're able to figure out who Griffin is, that he's breaking down, and also manage to find out where Wells is being held. So, Team Flash decided to get going there, but Cisco manages to get the one good thing that apparently Felicity is capable of generating right now, which is pieces of white dwarf star alloy that apparently that's what the Atom's armor is composed out of. He was able to only get enough to put on the main chest piece there, which essentially would be like a bulletproof vest, tactical armor as it were. So it could take about one of his super strength punches, but that would be about it. And this is after, Barry's still getting knocked around here and there. There is also a cool little thing from, we're going to Ace Chemicals. Now you might recognize that name, it's made famous in the Batman stuff, so it's a little Gotham nod there, and the symbol for Ace Chemicals actually is the ace from a playing card, so that was kind of cool. But so yeah, so armed with a hopefully armored White Dwarf thing, which I was hoping that they might get more of that, so that eventually they can have something to where that would explain how to get the Flash ring to the costume to compress into the Flash ring. I even touched on that in one of my theory videos a long time ago. So it's a possibility, but that's going to depend on getting hold of more Dwarf Star materials. I don't know. So they figured out that every time Griffin uses his powers, he ages. So the idea is to try to get him to use up so much of his strength and power that he eventually just becomes weak and can't do anything. It's pretty cool to see Barry still trying to do what he can as the Flash, even without his powers. There were some good storylines back in the day when Wally West even lost his powers, but he still couldn't give up being the Flash. So that was a cool little nod. So while this is going on also, Wally wants to try to use Joe to get a hold of the Flash to thank him for everything he's done. Joe's saying, I don't think it's going to be good, but Wally is unrelenting on this. So eventually they stop Griffin, they rescue Wells, Jesse is back with them, and they're still trying to figure out how to get him his speed back, but nothing really comes yet. But eventually it looks like the Flash does have a meeting with Wally, and he does, apparently he puts in a voice modulator to mimic the vibration that he would always do, given that Cisco came up with the sonic collar for Black Canary. Not surprising. No Laurel, no Arrow, by the way. Anyway. So they have their heart-to-heart. It shows that Wally's definitely trying to steer away from being the reckless guy and wants to make the most out of his life. So that at least is a good thing. But they're still trying to figure out how they're going to get Caitlin back. How are they going to stop him? And he can't without his powers. So Harrison comes up with the great idea that the only way to get Flash's powers back is to recreate the particle accelerator accident that gave him his powers in the first place. And that's where we cut to what's going to be happening next week. And that's going to be pretty heavy stuff, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be some clashing going on between Joe and Henry Allen's coming back and that. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And last night's episode, it felt like a bit of a filler, but it was okay. Yeah, it was actually pretty good for what it was. I'm looking forward, of course, to seeing Grant using super speed again. I'm sure we're going to be getting that soon. Next week, you might see something that looked familiar from Flashpoint Paradox. So that's going to be kind of cool. So overall, yeah, I liked it. Was it the most exciting episode? Not really, but it was a filler that managed to get Jesse back. We had some heartfelt things, some questions got answered, and we got to see a hell of a lot more of the creep factor in Hunter Zolomon, a.k.a. Zoom. Teddy Sears, much respect to you, man. You're a hell of an actor. Got to give you props. But you've got to stop making us hate Jay Garrick. Just stop it. Anyway. All in all, pretty enjoyable. So what do you guys think? Please like, comment, subscribe, share, pass this bad boy around, and just tell me what you know. Alright, well, until next time, Dave signing off. Peace, yum yum.